All right, we are back. So last episode, I talked about episode 1 of 4, about The Walking Dead. It's been a long journey. In those 4 episodes, a lot has happened, and I'm gonna talk about 5 to 8 right now, and talk about what's gonna happen for the rest of the season. This has just been 4 episodes, and so much has happened. We've seen what I find the best hour of TV I don't want to say ever seen, but I'm not sure. It was that good that I'm almost certain that that was the best hour of TV I've seen ever. So, anyways, let's get right into it. Episode 5. So, Michonne discovers she's always been wary of the governor, but she discovers that he's holding some walkers. So she opens the cage, slice and dices, kills them all. Kind of goes on a killing spree, and that's the first time where you see her happy, right? Like she's just killing. She's doing what she knows how to do, what she does best, and she's proud of herself for doing that. She's proud of herself for the way she works and whatever. So again, she's like, Andrea, like this is going on. This is crazy. What's going on here? And Andrea doesn't want to leave. So Michonne's like, all right, like your loss. I'm out of here. So Michonne leaves that night. What happens is the governor, Michonne's no longer there kind of controlling Andrea, so the governor's got her all to herself now. So the governor says, Andrea, come on, let's, we have this thing that happens. Let's go check it out. So what it is there's two combatants, I guess we could call it that way. Merle and that other, like, buff-looking dude. I don't know his name, kind of. Those characters escape me or whatever. But they fight each other in this wrestling-style matchup, while there are zombies or walkers, whatever you want to call them, chained up. And every so often, the chains loosen up, so they get closer and closer and closer to these two fighters. And Andrea is, like, disgusted or whatever. She's like, I don't, like, what is this, and she fights the governor. She's gonna leave, and the governor's like, look, chill out, like, this, this is fixed. These zombies don't have teeth, so they can't bite you, but it's for the entertainment of the people. I find that weird, personally. I think it's kind of sick, right? Like, you've seen some sick stuff, but I think that's really sick. I know it's rigged, but the people don't necessarily know it is, and they're cheering on, and they don't realize how dangerous this is. They don't realize. They kind of get this whole joke that, well, it's nothing, these guys can do this, like, whatever. So the governor's not preparing Woodbury the way Rick has prepared, his group. Rick made sure with every single person in the group, they know how to fire a gun, they know how to, kill zombies efficiently, sorry. And really, has this thing worked out, this, like, fighting, I don't want to say etiquette, but style that everything works fluently. And the governor in his kind of community, he's the power, right? Like, they look up to him, and he's this guy in charge, and he'll slaughter people just to make sure that they don't question him or his motives or his way of doing things, just the way he killed the military, the soldiers and stuff like that. So I think he's desensitizing Woodbury, and I don't think this is something that should be, desensitized. I think this zombie apocalypse is a bad thing. I think people should learn how to survive in it, not learn how to have fun in it. At least not at first, at least not until they know how to defend themselves. And these people, if they were overrun, and if everyone on the gates were killed and there'd be no people with a gun, I'm sure this wouldn't survive. This would be like in season 1 when the group was first overrun, and even worse than that. When we lost pretty much, Andrea's sister Amy and all the rest, it was kind of, everyone was everywhere, and there was chaos and everything. And if Woodbury would be to be attacked right now, that's exactly what would happen if the governor and his henchmen weren't there. So I think the governor needs to kind of teach people how to do things, right? How to kill and stuff like that. So then we see Rick. He went crazy. He went on a killing spree since he lost Lori. He is just, you know, he almost killed Glenn. He just had rage in his eyes. Glenn was like, Rick, and he just shoved him against the wall, and he, you know, he was like, back off, Glenn, basically. So Rick kind of goes on his crazy. He gets in a room where Lori died. Zombie is there with a full stomach. We have a blood trail from where Lori died to where that zombie's sitting. Basically, the zombie just ate Lori and is full and can't even move. Rick pops him. Which we don't ever see Lori. We don't ever see her, you know, kind of from the time she died to the time she was eaten. We haven't seen her. So my hope, and I know this is a dumb one, is that Carl didn't really shoot her. She woke up and she's in there somewhere. But we know that she, you know, Carl took care of her and she was eaten, stuff like that. But after that, Rick is kind of broken and the phone rings, picks it up. Hello? Weird, right? Next episode 6. So Rick's on the phone. He hears voices, which we then come to realize that it's the voices of the people who died that he knew and stuff like that. And Lori picks up the phone, and he kind of has to snap back in reality and accept the fact that she died. And he makes sense again, right? He was lost kind of during that time, and then he accepted that Lori was, you know, dead, and he comes back. So during this time, the governor sent Merle and 3 more people to go hunt down Michonne. They're in the woods. Michonne comes out of nowhere, head slice. I was gonna say headshot, but head slices like 2 of them and disappears again. But she gets shot by Merle. Comes back, breaks Merle's nose, kind of this big thing, gets away, and then Merle's like, like, I am not messing around with Michonne. I am scared of death. And this is the first time we see Merle back down from a challenge, right? He is always up for that challenge, challenging everyone. We saw in the first season he was, you know, after Rick and T-Dog and all that stuff, and that's why he got handcuffed to the roof, you know. But Merle is like, no, I'm not. We don't have to go after her. And then the one guy that's left, he's a kid. He questions him. He's like, well, you know, we have to tell the governor. Merle is like, nope. Kills that guy, right? So he's not going to back down from that. But for some reason, he's scared of Michonne because he knows if he goes toe-to-toe with her, she's more ruthless and cold than he is, and she will get the better of him. Anyways, so Merle gets back to kind of a parking lot to get a vehicle. And sure enough, Glenn and Maggie were there to pick up formula for the baby and anything else, vitamins and stuff like that they could find. So Merle finds them and he's like, ho, like, you know, I got you. Do you know where my brother is? He puts down his gun. Yeah, we know where your brother is, but they don't trust him. Sure enough, shit happens. They get in a fight. Merle gets the upper hand. The gun points it at them. You're coming with me. At the same time, Michonne has seen all of this. She stood by silently just watching and kind of, she had this deep thought in her, kind of examining everything that's going on. So, sure enough, Michonne picks up the basket, walks, and then Merle has Glenn and Maggie, brings them to the governor, and then we see at the end, zombies are coming towards the gate of the prison. Rick and Carl are there. Michonne shows up with a basket full of the supplies that Maggie and Glenn picked up. Next episode starts off, Michonne's there. Rick and Carl save her and then bring her inside. Rick doesn't trust anyone at this point. He's kind of seen what happened with Tomas. He's seen even with his best friend Shane, right? So he doesn't want to trust anyone. He definitely doesn't trust Michonne, and she's not giving him any reason to trust him. But she tells them this is what happened. You know, this guy, which she doesn't say Merle, kidnapped Glenn and Maggie. I saw it happen. I know where they are. Let's go save them. Because Michonne wants revenge, right? She got shot. She got in shit. She wants to tell Andrea that the governor is not to be trusted. Like, he just tried to kill me, basically. So they have no choice but to trust her and follow her lead, and they go to Woodbury. Before doing that, though, Carl kind of stops his dad, and you know, Carl knows he's got to stay with his sister. I forgot to mention that it was a girl, and decides, you know what, like we have to call her something. It's not little baby Kick-Ass anymore. So they call her Judith, which Carl kind of came up with. So Rick agrees to that, and so we have little baby Judith. So at the same time they leave to go find Woodbury, we see Glenn getting his ass beat by Merle. Merle lets a zombie in there. Glenn destroys that zombie. He was tied up to a chair. He broke the chair. He has these like spikes from the chair, and he destroyed the zombie. So we see Glenn has become this little pizza delivery boy, kind of weak and timid, and now he's a man. He'll survive. Glenn is a survivor for sure. And he kills that zombie. At the same time, we see Maggie in the other room. Merle couldn't get anything out of Glenn, so he's going to get it out of Maggie. The governor decides to take matters in his own hands. He goes in that room with Maggie. He says, take off your shirt. Take off your bra. So Maggie's there topless, kind of, we know what's coming, right? He's going to rape her. So he gets behind her, kind of plays with her hair, and sure enough, he's going to rape her, and he just walks away. So he doesn't do that, but Maggie is terrified nonetheless. She basically felt like she got raped, right? Like, I mean, she just had no clothes, stood there. She knew it was coming, and it didn't happen. So we see the governor. There's something there. Maybe there are certain lines he won't cross, or was it just the plan from the beginning to kind of get in her head like that? So finally they decide to bring Maggie with Glenn. She doesn't have a shirt on. Glenn sees that, so Glenn is like, you piece of shit, you raped my girlfriend, I'm gonna kill you. So gun gets pointed on Maggie. Glenn doesn't want to say anything. Then gun gets pointed on Glenn, and Maggie cracks, right? Maggie is not as strong as Glenn. Glenn knows it's all about the group, and he will sacrifice himself and die before giving up the group. But Maggie says they're at the prison. So they're kind of in this state that's impossible, that they're at the prison. The prison can't be taken, right? Especially not from a small group. So unfortunately, Glenn is like, oh yeah, we got Shane and Andrea and everyone, and they're going to kick their ass. And sure enough, Merle and the governor knows they don't have Andrea. So what else is he lying about? Anyways, back to Rick and them. They find Woodbury. They're about to attack. They're about to go, get the gate. And the episode ends. So final episode here. Episode 8. So we kind of get this really quick scene in the beginning of the episode where we see these new survivors. There's a couple of black folks, a younger, well, I mean, maybe like a 16 or 17-year-old teen, and an older male, older white male, and an older white female. The race doesn't really matter. I'm just kind of getting you situated. So they kind of fight. The older female, the white female, gets bitten in the arm. They don't know this, but if they went the Rick route, they could have probably cut her arm and saved her, but they don't know, right? They haven't experienced everything. And sorry, my camera's really going off focus, but is it because I'm moving around a lot, probably? But so they kind of break free, and then they enter this broken schoolhouse, it looks like, but the camera pans out, it's the prison. So they enter the prison. They're making their way through that basement area. Sure enough, Carls finds them, gets them safe, kind of helps them out, and he's like, follow me. So they go with him, but he closes the door, kind of locks them in the cell. They're safe though, they'll have food, but he doesn't trust them, he doesn't know them, and he's doing what his father would do. He's turning into Rick, and probably a better Rick, because Rick seems to kind of have this cold ruthlessness to him that I don't think Carl quite has yet. But anyways, he locks them in there. He's like, you're safe here. I'm not gonna give you up like Rick did with Andrew. Just stay in here, and then basically he'll find out what's gonna go on there as soon as Rick gets there, and Rick's really in charge of those decisions. So that's kind of the situation there. At the same time, in Woodbury, Michonne finds a way to kind of sneak into one of the buildings. So the group goes with her. They kind of finally get to where they have to be, where Maggie and Glenn are being held prisoners. They're finally about to execute, like Merle and them, the governor, are finally about to execute Maggie and Glenn. But sure enough, they arrive at the right time, throw some flashbangs and smoke grenades. They run it. Like, it was amazing to see kind of, I know it's just a show, but the teamwork and kind of the precision of their assault on Woodbury. They were able to get Maggie and Glenn out of there, not get shot, not get, anyone killed, and they got them on the streets. At the streets, then they have to go to the gate, and they're not able to use the same route they took in the beginning because they got, someone noticed them. So they had to throw more smoke grenades, throw some cover fire, get them to the gate. And sure enough, they kind of climbed over this bus. Axel got shot. So he wasn't able to make it, right? So, I mean, he saved Rick's life, thank God for that. But I don't think we fell in love with the character enough. So I don't think it was a big loss for anyone. Not like something like Lori or whatever. And then Daryl stays a little behind to give some cover fire. Michonne is nowhere to be found, and they get over the gate. They gotta lay Axel down, and sure, Rick, Maggie, and Glenn kind of get away. At the same time, we see Michonne. She is sitting in the governor's room. She hears a noise, goes in the back room. She finds Penny, the governor's zombie daughter, which he brushes her hair and takes care of her and everything. She finds her, thinks she's alive, doesn't know she's a zombie, takes off this veil that he keeps over her head, and she's a zombie, right? And she's like, what the fuck? Like, you can see it on her face, right? She's like, what's going on here? So, sure enough, the governor would arrive at that exact time. He says, no, not Penny. Like, please let her go, please let her go. And Michonne's got that sword ready to, kill Penny at any time. The governor drops his gun, drops his belt. Kind of, we see how much she really means to him. He does not want to lose her. Sure enough, one false move, Michonne puts that knife in the back of her head, basically kills her. And the governor attacks. And he kind of pounces on Michonne, and they start brawling and fighting. Slams her head in the aquariums of like formaldehyde and zombie heads or whatever the hell it is, and he's about to kill her. She's not able to grab her sword, so she grabs a piece of glass from the aquarium, stabs the governor in the eye. I think it was his right eye, if I remember correctly. So you see the piece of glass sticking out, and I thought it was really well made. Like, some of the zombies in the CGI aren't great, but that prosthetic makeup and everything, it was really good with the piece of glass in his eye, and he's freaking out. Michonne's able to get away. Andrea gets there with the gun pointed at Michonne. So we see this standoff where they kind of they move around like that, kind of ready to kill each other, and nothing is said, no words exchanged. Michonne leaves. Andrea sees the zombie heads and all that, sees the governor. She tends to the governor. He gets his eye fixed, or patched up anyways. And she asks, what the hell is that? What was with the heads? And he says, oh, well, it's just to desensitize me of what the world has come to and stuff like that. But there's definitely something more. And anyway, so Michonne kind of gets out, finds Rick and Maggie and Glenn. They head back to the prison. Daryl's not with them. Next scene, the governor has the kind of eye patch band around his head. He's talking to Woodbury, the community where they had that big wrestling match of Merle fighting the other guy and the zombies and stuff like that. And he's giving this speech, a very authoritative speech, I can't keep you safe. We're not safe here anymore. We were attacked by terrorists. They want what we have. We have to get payback, basically. And the crowd kind of gets riled up, like, yeah, we're gonna get that. And then, sure enough, governor says, we have one of the terrorists here. Whose fault was this? Merle's. He let them in here. So the governor is throwing Merle under the bus, even though we know that Merle had nothing to do with it, just because the governor found Merle's brother, Daryl. So he throws Daryl with Merle. Basically, he's like, what are we going to do with these two? And the crowd chants, kill them, kill them, kill them. And sure enough, we see Andrea. She sees Daryl for the first time, and she knows something's up. Episode ends. So I don't know. It's been a long 8 episodes. It's been really, really interesting, really good. This season has taken a different tone, and that mid-season finale, it was a doozy. It felt like every 4. I mean, for this one anyways, these first 4 episodes felt like a finale in its own when Laurie was dying, and then the other 4 episodes kind of felt like another finale there. As well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this up here. It's getting kind of long. I'm going to do another episode to talk about the rest of kind of my thoughts on the season so far and everything. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode 5 to 8 recap. Leave a like and a comment if so, or a dislike and comment if not. And leave some comments and your thoughts and opinions, because I want to know what you guys think about this. Keep watching. Next episode, I'll be talking about all sorts of different things, from Milton and his kind of science experiments, which I haven't talked in these recaps because I didn't find it was necessarily important to the story. As far as what is going on, I'll talk a little bit about the governor and different things like that. So watch next episode, guys, and I'll catch you then. So thanks for watching. See ya.